All right, so we are on the internet. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to EFDN for putting on this great event and for inviting us to speak a bit about sustainable energy in sports buildings. My name is Jed Cohen. I'm joined today by my colleague Fabrizio Tavaroli. He will be speaking a bit later about specific strategies to save energy and money in sports buildings. We want to basically share with you today some ideas about how energy sustainability can and we think should become a major CSR pillar for your organizations. So let me don my salesman hat for a minute and try to tell you why. What if I told you that there's a solution out there that could fulfill your CSR goals? It would allow you to connect with your fans and your community. And because of the nature of this connection, your CSR push and sustainability would be well publicized. People would know about all the great things you're doing in sustainability. The solution could actually improve the comfort and functionality of your buildings. So the time that you spend at your office or the time that your footballers spend training or on the pitch. And it can improve the health of your community, potentially even saving lives by reducing pollution. And best of all, this could also save money for your organization and create a new revenue stream. So this sounds like perhaps a fantasy in CSR, but actually such a solution exists. It's called the GREENFOOT Concept, and it's in sustainable energy, and we're here to tell you a bit about it today. So I know I must sound like quite the salesman, and I imagine that you're wondering what I'm selling today, but actually we are not here to sell you anything. What we're interested in today is gaining your interest and understanding in how the power of sustainable energy can be applied to sports buildings and how it can bring all of these wonderful aspects that I just listed. And also to ask you to follow our work in the GREENFOOT project, where we're building up this concept of sustainable energy in football buildings and integrating many solutions for easy replication throughout the world of football, where we hope we can really make a transformational change happen by using the signal boosting effect of football. So the GREENFOOT concept is this solution I just sold you. It's something we are developing with EFDN and other leading football entities, including involvement from UEFA. In a nutshell, what the solution promises is energy sustainability for football buildings and energy citizenship for football fans. Now, aside from my act as a struggling salesman so far, I'm actually not a salesman. I am an energy scientist, and my colleague Fabrizio Tavaroli is an energy engineer specializing in sustainable energy in buildings. And so what we work on every day is trying to improve the energy system, make it more sustainable, cleaner, and overall better for society. But we, of course, understand that that's not your day-to-day life. And so I wanted to take a minute today to present the case for sustainable energy in football as clearly as I can. We've seen today at the conference that there's all these wonderful initiatives going on in CSR, led by EFDN in a lot of cases, or all of you, and they're really fantastic. But I think this is the only one where sustainability is really highlighted. And so what we're trying to bring is a bit more focus on sustainability. And so the question is, why should we care about sustainable energy, as well as all those ideas I just listed and how your organization can benefit? There's also benefits to society. So we all know about fossil fuels and how they are one of the pillars of modern civilization. They've allowed us to build up this great society where we all have experienced improvements in our standard of living, et cetera. We can drive cool cars like this one and transport ourselves at will, and goods are flying around the world like never before. But of course, we know that there are potentially some problems with fossil fuels moving forward, and the nature of human progress is such that now is essentially the time when we start to move away from them. So one of the problems that we know about is with climate change, which I'm sure all of you have heard about. You see here this graph. This is atmospheric carbon dioxide on Earth for the past 800,000 years. And what you see is this sharp spike since 1950. And essentially this has led to an increase in temperature. And the long or the short of it is that this could be anywhere from a nuisance to human civilization to a very cataclysmic event. But it's a little bit hard for people to grasp onto climate change. And we know that. So I want to bring this a little closer to home and talk about the single largest health risk in Europe, which is air pollution, which of course comes largely from burning fossil fuels. So when we think about living in Europe, we think about that we have clean air, and we see places like China where there's all sorts of coal being burned and these pictures of hazy cities, and we think, well, we don't live there, so we must have very clean air. But actually, we're far from breathing the cleanest air that we could, or the air that we should be breathing. And you see this from the European Environmental Agency here, that over 80% of urban Europeans are breathing air that is dirtier or more polluted than the World Health Organization thinks that it should be. So we see that this has a large health impact on our communities, over 500,000 premature deaths from air pollution per year in the EU 28. And this doesn't even begin to touch on all the other health impacts that air pollution can have. It can leave things like bronchitis, asthma, which are things that I personally struggle with. And it can lead to problems with Alzheimer's, psychological problems, stress, etc. So the health impacts of air pollution are something that we sort of brush under the rug, actually, in today's civilization. But it's a major societal problem, I think, moving forward, that we should try to deal with. And this is, of course, when you look out and you see the children trying to train themselves up to one day hopefully join your football club. You just think of the air they're breathing. And I know that I don't want my son to have to suffer through asthma the way I have. And we have actually the opportunity and the ability right now to change this. We no longer have to rely on fossil fuels. We have sustainable energy solutions. We all know of wind and solar. These are the classic ones. But what we're here to tell you about today are some of the more innovative solutions in what we call energy efficiency or energy sustainability in sports. It's what Fabrizio will go over with you in a minute. And what you see here is the Barclays Center in New York. It has a green roof, so it's using much less energy than it otherwise would be. And essentially, when you're using less energy, you are one way or the other reducing the pollution from fossil fuel use. Telling me my screen is not being shared. Apologize for that. There we go. So what actually is the GREENFOOT concept? You can read our little blurb about it here. And then we have this value chain for GREENFOOT. And what we see very briefly is we're building up a crowdfunding platform that allows fans and community investors to put money towards a stadium or football building renovation. This goes through various different business models that we are defining in the project, but at the end of the day, you end up with a greener building that's either producing renewable energy or it's drastically reduced its energy consumption. And so this leads to a lower energy bill and savings or a revenue stream. You can also implement things like car sharing or electric vehicle charging in this idea, etc. And at the end of the day, we are giving non-monetary and monetary benefits back to the fans and community members. So we make sure that everyone along this value chain is happy at the end of this process. And this is really the definition, we think, of a win-win-win proposal for corporate social responsibility. So for transparency, this project is funded by the European Commission. We're working with our fantastic group of partners for the next 3 years, essentially to define that diagram I just showed you, to define all of the linkages and what exactly these business models are. And the end goal is to present an easily replicable system where we can hand a very small packet and some technology off to participating football clubs or sports building owners that have an interest in sustainability, and they can very easily replicate this idea and bring all of the benefits of the concept to their local community. So along with Energy Institute, which is where I am at as an energy behavioral scientist, we have RINA Consulting, which Fabrizio represents today. They're energy and building experts, one of the most specialized firms in the world in this. We have the European Crowdfunding Network, which is the European central network for crowdfunding. And so they obviously bring a lot of specialty in that. Fantastic communication in Euractiv. We have our amazing football partners headlined by EFDN, representing the private club side, And then we have our participating football associations, headlined by Football Association of Ireland, AFFA in Azerbaijan, and the French Football Federation. We also have on board one of the biggest and most innovative energy companies in the world, which is Électricité de France, representing the energy services perspective. So why are we doing this project sort of from the bird's eye view? Well, one reason is, of course, to reduce energy consumption and bring about cleaner air and reduce our impact in climate, et cetera, which Fabrizio will talk about a little bit more. But the real transformational potential here, we think, is this idea of linking energy and sustainability aspects through football to the fan base. And the reason for that is that when we think about a sustainable energy system in the future, the European Commission sort of has laid out a guideline of how this can be realized and how we can really transition away from fossil fuels, which is obviously a hard thing to do. As I mentioned at the beginning, our society is built on the backs of fossil fuels in a lot of ways. And to do this, we need citizens to take a more active role in the energy system. We need them to start thinking a little bit more about how they consume energy, need them to potentially be financing new energy technologies or adopting new energy technologies, providing services or flexibility to the grid, et cetera. And so this is actually my area of expertise. This is what we work on at the Energy Institute every day. And our internal rule of thumb is that we can get about 10 to 20% of the people that we contact for a given project interested in joining in this sustainable energy transition. And there's various reasons that people will join for: monetary reasons, environmental reasons, personal reasons, community reasons, et cetera. But what we're hoping here is by joining football with this energy transition, we can bring the signal boosting power and the fact that football is the most popular sport in the world. Many of you and your clubs are leaders in your local communities. And if you're able to build awareness for this aspect of societal change, then this will bring many more people into the energy transition and will really have transformed ourselves into a post-fossil fuel society. So the key action that we're doing in GREENFOOT and why I will ask you to follow the project and maybe lend some interest to us as we go along is that we are defining all of those linkages in that diagram I showed earlier. So we're defining what this crowdfunding platform should look like, how these contracts should be written up, what sorts of benefits we can give the fans, et cetera. We're doing market analyses. And at the end of the day, we're going to have a very easily replicable system for implementing this GREENFOOT concept. This will also be demonstrated on 3 major football association buildings during the project runtime. The first one is Clairefontaine French National Training Facility. This is a gem outside of Paris. It's a national tourist attraction. I'm sure many of you know about it, so we hope to really have a large impact there. We're going to look at an arena or a stadium in Azerbaijan, potentially Dalga, and then we're also going to do this on the FAI headquarters in Ireland to show that this doesn't have to necessarily be a football building like a training pitch or a stadium, but it can also be something that's associated with a football club like a headquarters, an office building, or even a hotel, for example. And so we'd have many other possibilities from the partners and perhaps even from your groups as well, where we could try to implement this concept during the project runtime. So the final message is that we really think that this is a transformational idea. We want your support in moving CSR and football towards sustainable energy and sustainability in general. And we think that the sustainable energy future can really start to become a reality today. So we would ask you to join the project mailing list. I think our fantastic host from EFDN will put the link in the chat now. And the benefits of doing this again to your organization are improving your CSR goals, meeting your CSR goals, improving your relationship with the fans in the community, improving the comfort and functionality of your buildings, improving the health of your community and the planet, and serving your bottom line. So actually saving money and creating revenue, and these investments all pay themselves back in the medium term. So we thank you very much for your attention today. I will now pass on to Fabrizio, and he will tell you a bit more about the specific technical solutions that exist for football buildings. Fabrizio, you should have access to.
Thank you very much, Jed. You provided very solid ground from my discussion, from my presentation. As you know, as you already said, I'm an engineer, so normally the topics I'm talking about are more boring than yours. But I tried to put together, to discuss together something which is accessible to everybody, but in the same time trying to relate to clear figures to provide guidance and some reference to just to understand the impact of the energy efficiency sustainability in sports facility and football building specifically today. So you can see just a short agenda of the topics I'm going to discuss for the next 20 minutes pretty much. I'd like to explain you why we think energy efficiency in football buildings is important, which are the main features of sports facilities and football buildings in terms of energy efficiency sustainability, from this point of view, of course. And then I'll try to illustrate which are the main consumption related to the buildings and the area of improvement. And then I will finish with a specific focus on renewable energy sources and energy efficiency technical solutions. So first of all, why energy efficiency in football buildings? Talking about sport facilities in general, I can say you that they are very intensive consuming structure from an energy point of view, both due to their specific features in terms of structure and in general configuration of the buildings, but also, as we can see in a minute, due to their typical usage, which is something very peculiar, we can say, and very different for the other kind of buildings. In Europe, we got pretty much 1,500,000 sport buildings, of which 30% are football facility. We have to keep it in mind. It's very important. It's your sector in that. And according data collected in different other studies and research projects, the global energy consumption due to all the sports facility in Europe account up to 10% of total national energy consumption, which is a data for me very impressive. When we calculated and we analyzed this data, for me it was the first time it was a surprise. I was not aware of that. This alone could be a very important reason to pursue the sustainability energy efficiency in sports building and football facilities. Anyway, just to go back to what Jed said before, you got a very good introduction on how the energy efficiency sustainability is becoming more and more important for the sports sector and for all for our life in general. I will add, as Jed very clearly illustrated, for health and safety issues related to that. But still, there are some specific reasons to work on the football facilities. The first one is that there's a lot of room to improve the energy efficiency in sustainability in sports building. That's why the reason why of that is because most of the buildings have been constructed between the 60s and the 80s. And at the time, the sustainability energy efficiency was out of the drivers of the design and construction activities. So according to previous studies and other data available in literature, we can think about potential of improvement up by 30%, which is something huge compared to other sectors. So there's a lot of potential on that. And then going back to CSR again, to everything is linked to CSR, but the important part is also that the energy efficiency solutions installed in sport facility can have a high visibility and therefore could positively influence the community around the facilities. Then which are the main features of the sport facility we have to deal with. First of all, as Jed said before, as RINA, we've been working for, I mean, at least for the almost 20 years I've been in the company, but even before we've been working on energy efficiency in building. And as you can be aware, I think the main drivers and main information related to the energy efficiency building sustainability are well established for standard buildings, such as residential building or office building. For that kind of building, we got a huge amount of data, a huge amount of benchmark and tools to follow the entire process for renovation and definition of energy efficiency measures in all life cycle of the building. This is different, very different for sports facilities, because the buildings are non-standard and they are in a way almost unique due to their function and usage profile, and which is mainly related to the fact that they are used for short periods with an intensive use. Anyway, when we talk specifically, when we talk about football buildings, we can also add that there is a wide variety of buildings. So not just stadium, but also different kinds of sports facilities and training center, which have very different characteristics and needs. So what we're trying to do in GREENFOOT, and what we did also in other research activities, is trying to establish some clusters of buildings, trying to recollect the more common features of each building, trying to establish at least a preliminary approach common for the different clusters of building. Anyway, we have to clarify that at the moment, different approaches and intervention strategies are to be tailored according to the different buildings. So what we are doing at the moment is perform, first of all, a comprehensive energy audit, collecting all the information and baseline necessary to establish both the situation as it is and the potential of improvement. And we need a very active collaboration with all the key stakeholders involved in the process. So not just the building manager, but every single stakeholder involved in the process of management and use of the facilities. Just to provide you some figures about the energy consumption. Okay, I'm talking about the stadium because it's more, let's say, easy to understand example in a way. A stadium is a power-hungry beast, definitely. If you consider a medium, I mean, a stadium with a capacity between 40,000, 80,000 people for a single event. So for a match, it can consume up to 25,000 kilowatt of electricity. And just to explain what does it mean, this energy can power more than a dozen homes for an entire year. So it's a huge amount of energy. And how this energy, is consumed for the different use in a stadium. The 38% is due to lighting, scoreboards, and advertising screen. The 23% is related to heating, cooling, mechanical ventilation. 25%, this is an average, of course, is due to consumption of commercial area, and 11% for, again, it's impressive data for broadcasting equipment. And then we got a 7% consumption due to other usages, such as undersoil heating, pump system for irrigation, and other, again, adding the other, I will say, for cleaning services and all the other activities ongoing before and after a match. As you can imagine, the electricity is largely the main consumption of this kind of building. So I did pretty much an introduction on what are the features and the situation of the football facilities at the moment. So how is possible to improve their performances and the sustainability in terms of energy and sustainability? First of all, to understand that, we have to be, it must be clear that if you go to renew a sports facility, a football facility, a building, you have to keep in mind that which is your main goal, which is to have a sustainable building, an energy efficient one, a modern one, a flexible one also, which can shift the main energy source from to a renewable energy. So that's before going to the details, it must, but for every kind of refurbishment, from the point of view energy sustainability, the goal must be clear in advance. So which are saying that which are the main area of improvement? The first one, and we will focus on that, are the use of renewable energy sources, the improvement of lighting system, the upgrade of electrical equipment, and also HVAC system, and introduce, if not available, video automation technologies in every kind of system, and work on the renovation of the building envelope. I will discuss the main 6 items later. I just want to provide you hints on something that is not usually included in this kind of refurbishment strategies, but I think, in my opinion, could be very important for football facilities, is to try to think about new function for some area of the building, meaning that increase the usages and functions in the building to exploit better both the energy production and the system in the building. And to say so, anyway, you have to do so, sorry, you have to anyway provide different technology packages tailored each for specific football building, as I said before. We just keep in mind. A shorter review focus on the renewable energy sources. The first and more obvious one are the PV panels, and that they are more used at the moment. And I will add also that at the moment it's possible to combine the PV panels with also solar thermal collectors to produce not just electricity but also heat for the water production. But we don't have to forget about the other available solution, which can be micro wind turbines, biomass cogenerators, and geothermal heat pumps. It depends. The selection of the technology depends mainly on the local conditions. Even a micro wind turbine, which is, let's say, in a way, can produce less maybe than PV panels, if the building is in a correct open area, just for example, can still provide a good amount of energy. So which are the benefits? I already in a way talk about them. The wide availability, the first one at least, the wide availability of electricity, both for self-consumption and local exchange with the neighborhood. But again, high visibility, which can positively influence the community going to the stadium and living around the stadium or other sports facilities as well, of course. Here, I just provide you a couple of examples of two completely different scale of PV panel installation and, let's say, general strategy about renewable energy sources. The first one is the Ashton Gate Stadium. Here you can see a pretty much, not so small, but let's say a limited installation of solar panels which can still provide an amount of energy equivalent to 23 average energy use home for an entire year, and save over 20 years around 150,000 pounds, and at the same time reduce the CO2 emission by 20%. So even if, let's say, a limited in a way, if it's important one, but it's still compared to the other example, limited intervention can provide very interesting benefits. And then the second one is John Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam. Here you can see an example instead of overall strategy, including both energy generation, energy storage, connection to the grid, and and also to the neighborhood. Meaning that by using electric vehicles, batteries, not more functioning full performances for the car for energy storage, the energy production can be connected to the storage and used to show up peaks of energy demands, but also provide when not used for the stadium energy for also for other usages. And here you can see that the energy production in this case is very, very important and can affect also the surrounding area. Then I'll move to the energy efficiency technical solutions. I'm sure that most of you are aware of use of LED for a sports facility. So I can confirm you that it's right. It is a very good solution to reduce energy consumption. But I don't know if all of you are aware of all the possibility related to system personalization and build automated lighting management, meaning that the usages for the lighting, which account for 20% of the total energy cost on average, can be dramatically reduced by tailoring the use of the lighting for specific needs, and also balanced by the natural light if available. The LED, as you know, the reduction due to just to the introduction LED compared to traditional solution, it's up to 65%. And the energy saving due to personalization can be also up to 80%. So it's very important. It can reduce also maintenance needs and provide a very high quality of visual experience. Going to the energy not the energy production, but the production of the HVAC system, the generation, let's say. As you've seen before, we can use a lot of energy, renewable energy sources to feed the production of the HVAC systems, but also connect to the district grid, and install high performances cogeneration system, which can reduce the CO2 impact and improve the performance. This is going more technical, but I'll just provide you just a short overview that there are available different kind of automation, smart meters, which can reduce the consumption, and also by setting specific tailored features and settings on the systems, it is a possibility to reduce again the energy consumption. And also, from my point of view, the collecting the smart meters and the sensor is the first step to do, because collecting data, as you know, is very important. And so just to understand how to act and to work on the refurbishment. Again, last but not least, something which is, I think, more familiar to you, the refurbishment of the building envelope, which is nothing nothing so different from the normal residential and office building. So we can improve the walls and slab. We can change the windows if available in order to reduce improve the performance of the windows. We can reduce the thermal bridges and provide the appropriate shading and also introduce green roof, which is something part of the envelope. What about the benefits? They are very similar again to the traditional buildings. The reduction of energy spent for heating and cooling, the reduction of CO2 emission, and not last but not least, again, the improvement of user consumption. So that's it from my side. I hope that it could be useful for you and to improve your CSR strategies. And please, as Jed said before, keep in touch with us for any clarification. And Jed will be able to provide any further details about our project. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Fabrizio. That was fantastic to hear. All of the cool opportunities that we have there for improving energy efficiency. And I think what we saw is that not only can these improve the energy efficiency, of course, the sustainability of the buildings, but it can also improve things like the comfort, the functionality, and a lot of them just look really cool, especially in your diagrams there. And you can see how this would be really an eye-opening experience for the public who are going to your stadiums or driving by practice pitches and whatnot to see some of these really interesting energy efficiency improvements. So I believe we'll go to the Q&A session now. So if you have questions, there is a Q&A section on the platform where you can put any question about what we've said, any comment. We covered a lot of topics from climate change to societal progress to the details of energy efficiency. We're very happy to talk about any of those things the next few minutes. Also, I would use this opportunity to say that tomorrow, Fabrizio and I will be hosting one of the roundtables on sustainability. It's, I believe, 10:30. And we're very interested to hear what opportunities you all are pursuing and what you're interested in terms of sustainability and energy moving forward. And I would just ask one more time that if you're interested in these sorts of things, the best way to connect with us is to sign up for this mailing list. Of course, the GREENFOOT project is going to have a full website and be disseminating everything at a very high level. But right now we are just assembling a mailing list for our newsletter and some of the early results of the project. And we will also be able to invite interested parties out for more specialized or deeper conversations about these topics later on next year, hopefully when COVID allows. Also, my personal Twitter account is essentially being turned into a sustainable energy in football account because we have not only the GREENFOOT project, but also a couple other initiatives going on in this realm. And so I'll be sending out a lot of those things. Great, so I'm being told that there are no questions. So if that's the case, I'll assume that everything was very clear, and we will thank you very much for your time and attention and hope to connect with you later on in the conference.